back with another one, and this is the last word on the Note 5. So this has been my daily driver for about 2 months now. So this video is absolutely the last word on this Note 5. This Note 5 has worked. It definitely has worked. It's a very comfortable phone. Fits real snug in the hand because of this curve in the back. Now I call it the edge appeal. This edge glass in the back really makes the phone fit in your hand very comfortable. So when it comes to the phone in your, the feel of the phone in your hand is definitely on point. Now it's not slippery. You would think it's slippery because of the glass back. It is absolutely not. Don't ask me why. It just absolutely does not feel slippery for me. Now Samsung has found a way to fit this 5.7-inch screen into a phone's body. And the reason why I say that is because the phone got little bezels. They've made this so-called phablet fit in your hand like a phone. They shrunk down the bezels on the side and on the top and the bottom for this phone to fit absolutely comfortable in a person's hand without losing any screen real estate. So that's awesome. So this build of aluminum with the glass in the back is definitely on point. The fingerprint scanner absolutely works. I would say about 98% of the time it just works. And it's fantastic for using with mobile payments. Mobile payments is boss on this phone. Now, one of my little gripes with this phone is these capacitive buttons. These capacitive buttons, I honestly have a problem with. Why? Because when you're watching video or playing game, you can accidentally press these buttons. And now that I'm talking about playing games, if you're playing games, you can easily muffle out this speaker. But what I must say about the speaker is absolutely one of the best features of this phone. Now the reason why I say that, because most phones out there only come with one speaker port. So when it comes with phones with one speaker port, the Samsung very much does well. But any phone that has front-facing speakers, that has stereo speakers, this phone gonna seem like, you know, the speaker gonna seem like trash to you. But in reality, it's one of the best mono speakers on a phone. The fast charging, let's go straight into that. Fast charging works. I use the Zozo charger. I also use the Samsung charger, but you know, we use multiple chargers. So even an aftermarket Qualcomm certified charger, it can definitely work with this phone. And you're looking at charge times straight from 0 to full, like an hour and a half. But I can honestly say you can get about, in a half hour, you can get almost 58% of charge. Now the output of when you put in your headphones and how the sound, you know, the sound comes through the phone very well. It's very good. So really the quality of the sound, because sometimes you get sound, of course you're gonna get sound, but the quality of the sound is very good. Samsung does a very good job. Now the volume, these volume keys on one side and the power on the other side, that is awesome. No matter which hand you use, your fingers will migrate to these buttons. That's awesome. There's no IR blaster, which is not needed. It's not needed. Let's go into the battery life. Battery life. You're looking at a good, under heavy use, you're looking at 12 hours to up to 16 hours. And if you're a very moderate user, you can probably go 18. But one thing I have to say, whether you use this phone or not, during the day, you're going to lose battery life. It does not have that doze feature where it doesn't lose battery life when the phone is in that sleep mode. This phone will still lose battery life as the day goes on, whether you use it or not. So you might as well use it. So battery life is definitely great. I've never been able to kill this within 8 hours. Every time after 8 hours, I have either 50 to 40%, most of the time 40% left. While we're in the front, let's talk about the camera. The camera is one of the best things on this phone. The 5 megapixel camera in the front, it's okay. It's nothing to rave about. But when you get to the back camera, you can't talk enough about how good this back camera is. Now, when you go into the camera, straight up, you have a lot of different features, which I normally just keep my phones in HDR and take my pictures. Now, when it comes to video mode, okay, right over here I have to go. How long you want to take a video? The higher in resolution, the less amount of time. To give you a quick example, UHD is about 5 minutes, Quad HD is about 10 minutes, and then it goes down from there. So you have to go down in quality to get more minutes. Dual video. Dual video takes up a lot of memory, and it's a real good thing. You could change how you want it to look, and you would think it's kind of a waste of time, but it's not. Because if you're vlogging and you want to capture yourself and you want to capture what you want to capture, it comes in handy. So dual video is good. Dual video is definitely a great feature, but it will eat up all your memory. Remember, Samsung didn't make 128 gigabyte of memory phone. They only made it up to 64. So with a couple of hours, you can definitely have your phone filled up. So you have to get the Google Photos app so all your pictures can transfer over in the cloud. That doesn't work well is Wi-Fi calling. So be very aware that Wi-Fi calling, the person's not going to hear you properly if you use Wi-Fi calling. I have it with T-Mobile. It seems to be an issue still. So pretty much, to be able to, as a businessman, if you're a businessman, you're a network marketer, this is absolutely the phone. Let's go into this processor. Now, this processor is the Exynos processor. Pretty much Samsung said, you know what, we're going to go with our own processor this time around. And they did. And it works very well. People can argue it's better than most processors out there right now. But processor game is not, it's irrelevant right now. The reason why, because all these processors seem to be doing the job. All the latest processors, the 808, the 810, they have an 820 coming. There's other processors out there that are very powerful and doing the job. So the argument is not processor power and performance. The argument is RAM. How much RAM do these Android phones need? This Note 5 got 4 gigs of RAM. Now, it advertises 4 gig of RAM. So you would think, you know what, I got 4 gigs of RAM to play with. But that's not necessarily the case. The situation is, as you're going along using the phone, your RAM is going to dissipate. Right now, the phone says you only got 1 gig of RAM available. Now, you can't scroll through Tumblr. You know, and right now, I'm clearing everything out. You can't scroll through Tumblr and have a good time. Now it says I have 1.5 gigs available. I can't get this past 2 gigs. So in other words, no matter what I do, I have over 2 gigs of RAM already being taken up between TouchWiz, the S Pen, and the Android system. So 4 gigs of RAM, you're not necessarily getting 4 gigs of RAM to play with. You're not even getting 2. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the screen. The screen is Quad HD screen. So you're talking a 1440p screen AMOLED. And what AMOLED means is the blacks are black. Those pixels are off right now. You know, and pretty much your whites are white and your blacks are black. And that what makes everything look so much better. It's a saving option. So in other words, it doesn't burn as much battery as like your LCD screen. The screen is awesome. Watching video and everything just pops a little bit more better. So in summarizing, call quality is actually great, but don't use it when you have Wi-Fi on, because I think there's a little issue when Wi-Fi is on. The RAM is an issue with this phone. It's not enough RAM to power this phone and give you a great experience. But other than that, it's a very good phone. Everything is on point. Screen is awesome. Camera is awesome. Those are top-notch features. The build is awesome. The S Pen is great. The fast charging is super. I mean, there's so many great things to talk about this phone, but there is some issues. It's not perfect. So this is my last word review on the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. If you guys disagree with this review, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. See you guys in the next one.